Match day 22 in the books. Big results this week, seeing Newcastle come to life and beat Aston Villa on Tuesday. Wednesday consisted of Man City keep on rolling, taking all 3 points against Burnley, Liverpool thrashing Chelsea, and then Manchester United in a 7-goal thriller today grab all 3 points at the Molineux. We'll break down every game for match day 22 and preview match day 23 coming up this weekend. This is the Premiership Rules Podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs. The ball in behind Damian Bunny! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start. The game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
Oh, Sammy Habibi.
Back
My
with
friend.
the midweek action.
Yeah. Much to our chagrin.
Much to our chagrin. You know, we're squeezing them in there, getting those
Yeah.
games in.
I'm much more of a Sunday Premier League enjoyer myself.
I'm a Saturday Premier League
Connoisseur.
enjoyer myself, personally. But you know
Yep.
what? We'll take it. We'll take it.
Take what we can
Full
get.
match
It's been too
week.
long.
For the first time in a hot second,
Yes.
starting off, Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal at the City Ground. This game, it went about how you would expect the game between Forest and Arsenal to go. First half, very much Arsenal in possession, Forest happy to sit in a low block as usual. They had a couple moments where they got forward decently, but not a whole lot of chances outside of that. As for Arsenal,
It must have been bad because you were texting me during the game that you're like, how do we ban low block?
you know, I was basing it off of the Reddit comments, which is a terrible idea because
Yeah.
obviously I couldn't watch the game because I was at work. But after watching the game, I was like, you know what? They're actually moving the ball pretty well. Finally playing some 1-2s once in a while. Emil Smith-Rowe getting a start. You love to see it.
Yeah, over Kai Havertz. What is that?
Well, you know, what's the old saying? You got to crack a few eggs and make an omelet.
Something like that.
Something like that. Anyways, Arsenal, there's a couple chances in the first half. I think Jesus had one, and then I think Saka had halftime. But anyways, goes into halftime, 0-0. You worry, potential frustration building with Arsenal, but they kept at it, kept pushing, and they finally got the reward. 65 minutes in, Arsenal turnover, Forest. Jesus makes a run down the left, walks a tightrope along the end line, and then puts it 5-hole on Matt Turner. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Disgusting.
Former Arsenal man himself.
Yes, indeed. Then 7 minutes later, Bukayo Saka getting a second goal for Arsenal. Assist from Gabby Jesus. Nicely worked again. Turnover in midfield from Forest. You're thinking, okay, Arsenal up 2-0. Seems pretty comfortable. But
No.
I warn you,
Awani.
he's back. 89
He
minutes.
met his quota of 1 goal outside of the beginning and end of the year.
Yes, exactly. Gets the goal to pull it back. And then it makes it a little interesting for the last, 6 or 7 minutes. Awoniyi had one last grasp, a chance towards the end, but the shot was right at David Raya. Arsenal able to hold on to all 3 points. Probably a little sketchier than it had to be, but still, a decent win. 2 goals from open play. You like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. But you got to reflect on Forest's side. From the Arsenal perspective, what did you think of Forest? Were you ever scared of this game? I assume not, but
Not really. I mean, the 2-1 scoreline flatters Forest. They obviously were playing for, to keep Arsenal from scoring with the low block, and really didn't look threatening very much back.
mm-hmm.
Chris Wood was like non-existent
No
in the
service.
first half, so no service. Could be the end of days for Matt Turner.
Yeah, they're looking at a couple goalie options.
Yeah, they brought in
One of which is
guy from
Ramsdale. I
Strasbourg.
saw, which I was like, what?
Yeah, they
Yeah, they
brought
brought
in.
in the Belgian international goalies at Strasbourg. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, for
Todd
like
Bowley,
6
good
million
meal.
euros.
Yeah, you can have that. Todd
So
Bowley says.
we'll see.
Yeah, I mean he can't be worse than Vlachodimos, and he's
No,
95% chance better than Matt Turner. So, but we
you
shall
never
see.
know.
You never
It
know.
it, it could just be
What's
Forrest
the
think
old
they can.
Mick McCarthy saying? Surely it can't get worse than this. It can.
They'll end up just going back to Matt Turner. Like, man, it's
Yeah,
our best option. But
he's our best option, and that's not a good one. Um, yes. All right, moving on. Same day, Everton Fulham. Sam, this game finishes 0-0, but it's actually a pretty entertaining game, for the most part. Especially first half. I wouldn't say that Everton were necessarily better than Fulham. I would just say they were a bit more aggressive, especially in terms of pressing. They're doing a nice job of turning Fulham over, uh, kind of in Fulham's defensive third when Fulham was trying to build out. A couple big chances that were kind of wasted between Harrison. Danjuma had one on a counterattack that was wasted. And Calvert-Lewin, it was really not going for him this game. Thought Fulham did a pretty nice job neutralizing McNeil, getting him off the ball and stuff, and really could only played side to side. But Fulham kind of responded as the half went on, especially. I thought, Willian and Tom Kearney had some pretty good games this game. Raul Jimenez is just like kind of worthless out there right now, hence why they're bringing in Broya, who could also potentially be worthless, but still, it's at least a different option. I would say a big moment of the first half had to be the odd deflection that went onto the bar, and then the ball dropped, looked like it was going in, kind of going in. It was right in front of the face of goal, and it hits Anthony Robinson's hand, and it starts going further into goal, cleared off the line. I was going to say VAR. Goal line technology showing that the ball was about 2/3 of the way over the line. Controversy was that could he have gotten his hand out of the way? Could he not? And the announcers were clearly adamant that he couldn't, but I don't know. Did you get a chance to see that play or no?
I think I might have seen it. I can't
Or like a
remember.
screenshot? I mean, it's one of those things where they're like, "Oh, his hand's by his side." It's like, one, it's not fully by his side. It's
Yeah,
separated from his body a bit. But the fact that he was pretty much on the line and it hit the crossbar and came right down,
right.
you could say he couldn't have got his hand out of the way. It's the ultimate gray area call.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that is definitely more the argument, like that you can't really react off of it hitting off the crossbar and then onto the arm. That's a better argument than his arm was by his side.
exactly. That's kind of how I felt, and it was very odd. The Everton fans I guess rightfully so, were very much like, yeah, we really deserve that one. And it's like, it kind of. I won't say no, but at the same time, I don't know. That's pretty tough.
You wouldn't say that they didn't deserve it, but you
Yeah,
wouldn't go
it's
so
just
far
the
as
fate
saying
of
they
the ref.
deserve it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the fate of the ref. Um, Rest of the first half, Fulham chances, but a lot of them were kind of half chances. They were doing a good job of getting behind Everton, but the quality of passing was not really on. I guess their best chance was, I want to say it was Tarkovsky blocked a shot from D Cordova Reed off the line, and then the rebound went to Raul Jimenez, who just for some reason decided from the edge of the 6-yard box to hit an absolute just rocket, and it just whistled wide. I don't know why he didn't try and place it, but you know, it is what it is. Um, so it goes to halftime 0-0. Obviously, second half, um, couple chances. Everton really could have grabbed a couple winners in the second half. Calvert-Lewin header off the bar, um, and then Fulham had a couple counterattacks that were pretty solid as well, but really wasted the finishing opportunities. A couple amazing saves, especially Pickford had one spectacular one in the second half out of the upper 90. I want to say is the like 75th minute or so, somewhere around there. Um, Truly spectacular diving save. And then Everton, couple chances at the very end with I want to say Beto got subbed on, and he had a chance or two that he just completely fluffed. So it ends 0-0, pretty balanced throughout. I guess Fulham had the better second half chances. Uh, so you could maybe say them that they could have won it, but I don't know. I think a draw is fair. It could have just maybe been 1-1 instead of 0-0, I suppose.
Hmm.
So yes, I don't know what to do with Everton. They're in the drop zone, but obviously they don't deserve to be, you know, given how they've played this year. It's just unfortunate circumstances surrounding the club for why they're there, but
Yeah.
um, they're now in the drop zone because of Luton, which we'll get to. But Sam, any thoughts on Fulham or Everton going forward?
Well, I think from an Everton perspective, a 0-0 isn't the worst to a Fulham team who's pretty decent at home. So
Yeah. Yes. 100%. And like I said, anyone easily could have won this game if, you know, it wasn't for a couple spectacular saves by you know,
yeah.
Pickford, or if Everton could actually finish on set pieces and stuff.
Hmm.
So pretty fair result there, if you're asking me. Good performance for both sides, given what it is. So talking about a good performance, Sam. Luton
Oof.
Town.
Luton,
Luton Town.
the
I don't even know
maddest
if
of
you can really
habits.
say, that it was a great performance. It was more so just really what Luton's been doing this whole year, but it was just like peak efficiency
Hmm.
from the Luton perspective.
Everything just
Um,
went their way.
yeah, I mean, right from virtually the kickoff. I mean, Brighton play it back, and they're messing around with the ball. They get turned over. Luton, this whole game, were hitting through balls like you wouldn't believe behind Brighton's back line. It was absolutely incredible. Um, and the first one uh was a cross swung in by Luton, and then Carlton Morris, like, I don't know, he kind of got like ahead. I don't think he meant to pass it, but it went off his head and then deflected over to Elijah Adebayo, who tucks it in unmarked. Um, Real strong start for Luton. Shaky from Brighton, not only midfield and defense, obviously, because they conceded the goal.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then the second one is going to be just shortly after a breakaway, given the fact that Sam's boy, Mr.
Sambi
Lokanga.
Lakanga with
Oh,
the
Sambi,
absolute dime. The Tom Brady in the fourth quarter nuked it down the field.
I mean, what was that? I mean, there's all the space in the world, don't get me wrong, but it was also like, it's still, good pass, great finish and stuff, but Jason Steele caught in no man's land,
Yeah.
totally empty net. It's like, oh my gosh. Um, After that, Brighton kind of settled it down, to say the least. I mean, a couple chances, but Welbeck not able to get on one. It was a real nice play between him and João Pedro. I feel like I wouldn't say it was a bad pass by João Pedro scoring it to him. It's just Welbeck couldn't quite get there, and then Welbeck was kind of one-on-one with the keep with the defender trailing him on his backside and just put the shot wide. After that, one or two sky chances, but it really came down to Brighton was just kind of always reeling in this game. And then Luton had a fizz chance that I think it was going in and got blocked actually by Brighton off a corner. And then they get a third once again. Luton just threw ball. I mean, it just felt like the Van Hecke and Dunk combination given a lot of space, but Igor as a fullback, if I'm Brighton, I can't allow that to happen.
Yeah,
I can't allow that to happen.
that is not.
He was torched the entire game. It was brutal. And yeah, in most of these, obviously most of them is relative, but they're because Luton's winning the ball in midfield.
Mhm.
It's if you're Brighton and you're holding possession, it's like I don't know what you're doing. Where if you're turned over, it's an instant counterattack goal against Luton. That just shouldn't be the case, and it brings up questions about De Zerbi, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, people say, is it because he's rumored to Liverpool and Barca and stuff like that? It's like you're still at Brighton and you still have a task at hand to get the team to Europe, and you're kind of reeling. And a lot of people say injuries and stuff. Everyone has a ton of injuries. Newcastle has a ton of injuries. Chelsea has injuries. Brentford's had a ton of injuries. Everyone throughout the table has had plenty of injuries. So
Mhm.
they got plenty of options, but the team just came out really, really flat today. And I think it's beyond the point to where you can't really blame De Zerbi. And I think it goes in halftime 3-0, and the fourth goal really shows it. It's just a poor clearance from Brighton. Doughty didn't even have a great cross off the corner. It's just, I think it was João Pedro at the front, like tried to clear it and pretty much flicked it on. Flicked on for Adebayo to get his second, and it's like, or not Adebayo to get his third, rather. It's just like, poor from Brighton. As much as we're down on Brighton, that was like worst case scenario entirely.
Yeah.
And this whole relying on like James Milner had to go out early because he got hurt, but it felt like Welbeck and Milner kept being in the spots that were open, and that's just smart by Luton to be like, yeah, give them space because we could chase them down. We're not worried about their pace. But brutal game for Brighton. Fantastic game for Luton. Complete game by Luton. Defense, attack, it all looked good. Yeah. And what's weird is that, we've talked about Doughty's probably their player of the year. He might have been like one of their least impactful guys this game. I mean, we know that Adebayo has been important for him, but Barkley and Ogbene, obviously very important this year too. But those three were the main ones that really, really stepped up.
Mm-hmm. Great game for Luton.
Yeah, no, to say the least. We'll move on to a 6-pointer, if you will, Sam.
Yeah. One that we did not expect to play out like this.
First off, it felt like this was lined up for Sheffield right away. We were getting ideas to say the
Yes.
least. We're talking Palace and Sheffield. First minute, Palace just totally spread open. I mean, there was like no containment on the far side. Once McAtee made that wide pass, or no, maybe it's Hammer. I think Hammer got the assist. Made that wide pass to Ben Brereton Diaz. It was over because he got ahead of steam going. And Ben Brereton Diaz, Sam,
He's
from
cooking.
the edge of the box. I mean, what do you want to say? He's cooking to the max right now. He's the one reason that we felt good about Sheffield, but
Mhm.
Palace did a good job, kind of calm it down, tone it down a little bit. Had a few chances, held some possession and stuff. Looked a little slower. They do get a goal, 16th minute or 17th minute rather. Olise, who's just dropping dimes this whole game, drops one right on what looked like it could have been the head of Etze, but he just gets his foot up, sticks it, redeflects it to the far post. Very nice goal. The attacking was good. The marking not so much. Uh, by Sheffield. Um, and then Sheffield come down a few minutes later, really on their second chance of the game, playing through the middle. Ollie McBurney lays it off to McAtee. He just takes a rip and just a little deflection off Gahey's foot, and it becomes a little lollipop chip right over Henderson's head. Not much Dean Henderson could do really on either goal for the most part. And Palace probably felt a bit hard done to be down again after they just equalized. But don't worry, Sam, because your boy Etze, he's there. He's there, and he's gonna hit an absolute peach of a curler from the edge of the box to equalize once more.
Yeah, this was a fantastic game for guys I enjoy watching.
Yeah, this was the Etze and Elise show. This is what they had in mind, and you have to think that Palace would like to keep these guys, but realistically, they'll eventually probably sell them, especially Elise in the summer. And if Elise can close the year strong, you know, there's talks that they agreed a £40 million deal for him with Chelsea, and or they activate his clause or whatever. You think that's going to be almost doubled now, or maybe a little under that, like 60 to 70?
Yeah, I think that's probably about the price.
Yeah. Uh, Palace finished the half strong, creating plenty of chances. Goes in halftime 2-2, and then second half, Palace do come out again. I mean, they look pretty decent. It's more so that the chances in the late first half, early second half were kind of falling more towards Ayu and Mateta, um, and it just really wasn't cooking. But um, Palace do get the third goal, 67th minute. Little deflection out to Olise, edge of the box, curler, bottom right. Nothing Fodderingham could do. Who, by the way, had to get subbed on because the backup. I'm totally blanking on his name. Gerbic. That sounds right. Yeah,
Yes.
Ivo Gerbic got just annihilated, just like shoulder to the head when he wasn't looking by Mateta, who's a big dude. So Wes Fodderingham had to come on, and they immediately conceded, which it's not his fault, but still.
Yeah.
Uh Sheffield really didn't get anything going chance wise until like the 84th minute, and even then they weren't amazing chances, but um the best one probably fell to your guy Ahmed Hazovic or whatever his name is. Anel. We call him Anel here. Uh where he rang one right off the crossbar. Um and yeah, I mean it finishes 3-2. Solid performance by Palace, and Palace busy on deadline day, Sam.
Yeah, I like that that signing they made, bringing in that
Wharton.
Wharton from Blackburn. I always love a good young championship player.
Well, that's where they do well, is they really scour the championship and find very nice deals. I mean, Elise and Etse both from the championship.
Yeah.
Uh, Anderson wasn't really, but Fulham ended up going down, and he was actually from Lyon, but he virtually from a relegated team. Gahey, another guy from Swansea. Uh, yeah, I mean, they tend to have success, so might as well go back to the well. We'll see what else Palace do. I mean, they're technically the highest spender, which is kind of weird. You wouldn't really expect that from them, but they also got a right back, Munoz too. So little defensive depth, more midfield play. I think that it's a good window. We'll see if it's enough to keep them up. I would figure so, but you never know.
I think a lot of it depends if he can keep Eze and Elise healthy for the
Healthy,
rest of the season.
yeah. That's gonna be the big one there. And then I mean next year, yeah, obviously I'll have Ducore back and it'll be a lot better. No guarantees this is the same guy, but you'll at least have him back and you can kinda plan on building your team and it makes sense. That's at least the thing with Palace is, you know, when they spend like the minimal to intermediate amount, it's at least on guys that make sense and stuff. It's when they spend like big money, it makes no sense. Like Dean Henderson. Like why they like getting him or like the Benteke
Yeah,
signing? It's like don't give them a lot of money.
when you have Sam Johnston on.
Team, yeah. But like this year, they'll get Lerma for free. They'll go out and they get this Wharton guy, young prospect for 20 mil. Like might as well. So, well moving on, Sam. The home the home team, the home merchants are no longer home merchants, I guess.
Yeah, we thought this was a shoe win for Aston Villa, but turns out that maybe Newcastle is just a bogey team for Villa.
Well, I mean the first game of the year would prove that hypothesis to be correct.
Yes, yes. Um, but you know, we expected Villa to put in a good performance in this one. Wasn't so much the case. Starting off the match, about first 25 minutes, it was pretty even. Both teams kind of canceled each other out in midfield, with their pressing and kind of counter pressing from each side. So not a whole lot through the first 25 minutes. Newcastle opened the scoring kind of unexpectedly through a corner. Fabian Schär scoring with the first time finish. 4 minutes later, it's Fabian Schär again for the brace. Who would have thought Fabian Schär with a
No
brace?
one.
No one. Not literally no one.
Yes.
This time coming off a deflected shot from Anthony Gordon. Went off the bar and then fell to Schär for the happen. Newcastle find themselves up 2-0 all of a sudden after not really having a whole lot before that. Yeah, Villa had some possession towards the end of halftime, and there was a late chance for McGinn after a corner, but went just over. Goes into halftime 2-0. Second half, Newcastle add a quick-fire third. 52 minutes in this time. Alex Moreno crashing in at the back post, resulting in an own goal and a very painful event for Moreno. He went into the post
Yeah,
very
right
hard.
into the post.
So at that point, Newcastle up 3-0, pretty comfortable. Aston Villa do manage to pull one back finally through Leon Bailey, who got subbed on shortly before, got in behind, and then squared it to Ollie Watkins for the goal to save my Fantasy Premier League captain, getting some
Like,
points on the board. But
there you
overall,
go.
Aston Villa, pretty poor game from them. They didn't have a whole lot of width in this one. I mean, they They started with a midfield of Louise McGinn, Tielemans, and Kamara, and then Watkins and Diaby up front. So kind of only those two guys in attack, all kind of very narrow. So that
Yeah,
didn't
which,
really
it's
work out
kind
for
of
them.
surprising given the fact Villa do tend to get, wide with how they like to play. They obviously like to, uh, work that width, get to the end line and kind of force things more central at the end with cutback passes and whatnot and certain crosses. But
Hmm.
yeah, Newcastle, good job taking that away, really isolating the play out there, not letting them do what they want to do. And it
Yeah,
wasn't even really a pretty win for Newcastle, and that's the
no,
kind of win they really needed was just grind it out.
right. It was like they find themselves up 2-0, kind of undeservedly, and that allows them to just sit back and play defense, and then they don't really have to force it. They can get forward when they want, but don't have to stretch themselves out, allowing them to be exposed to Villa. But overall, I thought the work rate of the midfield Newcastle was pretty good. The pressing was good and didn't allow Villa too much comfortable possession overall.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah,
Moving on to the Wednesday games. We have a hostile rivalry.
the Vincent Company derby.
Oh, I had Tottenham Brentford first.
Oh, okay. We can do that first.
But
Sure.
I mean, if you have, let me look on the Premier League app.
I'm on the official Premier League website.
Well, there you go. It is Man City Burnley. I will run through that real quick then.
I was wondering why Man City Burnley was so hostile.
It was very hostile. I mean, it technically did for a little bit. This one did have a little incident. Um, we'll start off first half. City really dominating possession, and anytime they didn't have the ball and Burnley tried to think that they could play out of the back, Man City would get the ball and immediately counter. And that's kind of similar how the first goal went. Matthias Nunes really just running right at Burnley's defense, gets to the end line, makes a move, little cutback, ball bounces back to him. Lofted cross into Julian Alvarez. The marking by Burnley is just, I don't know what to say. Burnley's defense is just terrible, Sam.
I don't know what I was thinking keeping Alvarez on my bench. That was a mistake.
O'Shea, Ekdal, Vitinho, Aldakhil. I don't know what to tell you.
That
That's
ain't
a
it.
League One. That might be a League One defense, brother. Um, but a goal for Alvarez, and then Man City won a free kick, which De Bruyne took, and it almost went in, went a little high, top netting. I think it even got partially deflected. And then I think 4 minutes later from that free kick, they have another free kick. De Bruyne this time spots this massive gap between the defense and the goalie, and just rather than taking a shot or lofting a pass, just rolls it simply right on the ground. Alvarez runs into the space, slots it around Trafford, making it 2-0, easy as you like, as Alvarez finishes that one. After that, Man City, holding the ball still, had a couple chances where they got to the end line. Burnley did all right taking that away. There's one where it kind of, if anyone was there, it would have been an easy tap in because Trafford dropped the ball and it sat right there for an empty net. Um, thought your boy, uh, Doku did not have a good game once
Doku is
again.
is 100% your boy. We all know that.
Well, I'm just the Doku reader. Okay, I don't support him. I just know when he's gonna do well.
You just can sense it.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I'll still always be amazed that Man City gets so many chances to where Guardiola can just like walk up and take a shot. If that guy ever just like spent the summer getting good at finishing, he could be like the first fullback with like 13 goals in a season. He could be like OP Marcus Alonso or something.
It is funny because he gets forward like really far, but it's not like
Really far.
it's not like a Zinchenko or
No, like he's
Udogi
just staying
forward.
forward. It's like he wins the ball and
Yeah,
then he's like looking to pass, but no one's really near him. And then no one on the other team is near him. So he just keeps walking it up.
yeah,
And it's like, oh, I guess. And he's like edge of the box or within the box. He's like, well, I guess I'll shoot.
hmm
Um, yeah, I think Burnley won like a corner, and that might have been their best attacking chance. I think that's all they had going. Goes in halftime 2-0. Second half, Sam, if I told you Man City started with the ball and they didn't let Burnley touch it, and they worked about 15 passes or so, maybe not that much, 10 to 15 passes. They just worked it for a goal, would you believe me? Because that's what
yes,
happened. Phil Foden making a little move, a little shimmy, finds Rodri, edge of the box, just passes it near post, back of the net, making it 3-0. After that, City sagged off a bit. Burnley kind of doing, one or two things to create some chances, but the finishing obviously is just not there with them. Your boy, gosh, I don't even know what you call him. David Datro Fofana, just Datro Fofana, David Fofana, whatever he goes by. Chelsea's loanee. He came
yes,
on and actually like kind of dribbled the ball. He just looks like he could just be like Nicholas Jackson's brother, and they're like the same talent level and stuff. But I don't think they have finishing capabilities. Holland got subbed on, which was good. Just to see his health was back. And then, the scuffle in the second half. Connor Roberts crashed in for a chance, and he like bumped into John Stones, and John Stones just like, I don't know why, but totally like embellished it really bad.
hmm
And like Man City players like took to that, like Connor Roberts like really messed them up. And it was like Rico Lewis was getting in Connor Roberts' face, and then Connor Roberts just two-hand shoves Rico Lewis out of the way, which results in Ederson just sprinting up behind Connor Roberts and just like blindside cold shoulder right to like his neck head area. It it was just, I don't know, very unnecessary. I felt for Connor Roberts as the only man over there, and then Man City's just crapping on you because John Stones tips over, and the announcer sitting there being like, "Well, John Stones, he's had injuries in the past, and you just got to be safe with that kind of stuff." It's like, okay, if this play happens like 5 times every Premier League game,
yeah.
why are we defending John Stones like he's the most precious man alive, and we can't have someone shithouse him?
Imagine how scary it would be to have a little Zoomer Rico Lewis coming after you.
No, well, it wasn't too scary to Connor Roberts because he just shoved him out of the way. He
Yeah,
said, "Get
that's kind of
out
my
of my
point.
way."
He's
Yeah,
yeah, he's not very scary.
yes. Ederson's scary looking because he's so ugly. We get
That's true.
Burnley, get a goal. Fafana cooks Guardiol, squares it for Dakhil, who scores. Um, Burnley
Yeah,
probably had one other chance in the second half on a counter, where it was 2-on-1, and they blew it before that goal. But I mean, they just sky it. It's just the finishing wasn't good. But this one ends up trickling in the back of the net in the 93rd minute. Ruins the clean sheet for Man City. So
yeah.
take that, Man City, 3-1. So
That goal.
company.
I just gotta say one
Okay.
thing about that goal.
Yeah.
It wasn't just some Dakhil. It was all Dakhil.
Oh, Al Dakhil.
I
Yeah.
I had to throw
But
in
no
the
Bakhil.
I had to throw in the pun there. Thank you.
Where's the Bakhil
That's all
from
I got to
Dakhil?
say.
Um. So they're just keeping company and they're just gonna roll with it, and
Yeah.
no point to sack him now.
Well, I mean,
Do you think this squad could stay up even if you brought
no,
in?
no,
I don't either.
no.
So
You might as well keep him.
yeah, just go down, take your lumps.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. Um, Man City, keep rolling. They got to 3-0 and then they just
Cruise control.
started going for style, yeah, and holding the ball.
Yeah.
So
All right. Shall we move on to that feisty affair that you referenced earlier? Tottenham versus Brentford. This one, probably match of the week, I would say. There were some good matches, but I think this one was just a fantastic match all around. Both teams, right from the get-go, at any chance, looking to push forward as fast as possible. There was a lot of Tottenham early on, pushing Brentford back into their own third, but, the Tottenham attack, not the sharpest when you got guys like Timo Werner and Brendan Johnson. So,
stop hating on Timo Werner. He played well this game, bro.
he
had an assist. He
he
cooked.
did get an assist. I will give you that.
He's realized that he's a distributor, not a goal scorer.
Yes. First chance of the game fell to Ruslev. Gets a shot, picks a far corner on the counter. Unfortunately, there was an offside in the build-up, and it was disallowed. But Brentford didn't have to wait long. They're able to capitalize on Tottenham's suicide high line as Ivan Toney's initial shot is saved, but it falls to who other than Neil Maupay.
The goal scorer.
He wasn't able to really catch it cleanly, but he was able to get enough on it to get into the back of the net. He celebrates with the James Maddison dart throw.
Oh!
And then after, there's a little bit of argy-bargy between him and James Maddison.
Archie. Yeah, that was weird when you sent me the link initially, like, as it happened. I was like, what am I looking at?
It's like two brothers who are, like, trying to fight each other, but they don't want to get in trouble by their parents, so they're, like, pretending that they're being friendly, but also, like, trying to choke each other.
Yeah.
So that was funny. Neil Maupay completely winding up Spurs and the entire crowd. So,
Well, he's the ultimate. The wind-up merchant
yes,
in the league. Yeah.
absolutely.
As an Arsenal fan, you would know.
Yes, I know. I've been on the other end. But I appreciate when he does it to Tottenham. After that, Tottenham got more chances. Timo Werner nearly sneaking a shot in at the bottom corner, but a nice save by Mr. Flecken. And a couple chances for Brentford. His corner kick nearly finds it back of the net directly from the corner kick. And then Pinnock had a backheel go just wide. The chances for Brentford to double their lead, unable to capitalize on it. Ivan Toney had a free header before halftime, saved by Vicario. Goes into halftime 1-0. Second half, Tottenham opened the scoring early in the 48th minute. Destiny Udogie makes a run. Down the left-hand side, links up with Timo Werner, and then is able to score off his second attempt. First attempt saved, but the rebound fell straight to him. And Tottenham able to score within a minute. First hit for a quick second. Timo Werner finds Brendan Johnson at the far post. The two
deadly
guys,
duo.
the deadly duo, they combine their powers for good. Brendan Johnson gets a tap in at the back post. And then cheekily hits the James Maddison celebration in retaliation of Neil Maupay. After that, about 7 minutes later, Richarlison adds a third after James Maddison's initial attempt is saved. That you felt like it was about to seal the deal.
But then Ivan Toney
was able to pull one back. After a terrible back pass from Destiny Udogie. It was very strange because Ivan Toney was like miles offside. And the only reason that he was onside
because the back pass
was because Udogie played it to him. Otherwise, would have been offside. But able to score with a nice finish to make it 3-2. After that, there's one late chance for Shandon Baptiste.
Which is not a real chance because it's Shandon Baptiste.
Push over the bar by
Yeah.
Vicario. Tottenham hold on for the 3-2 victory. A very exciting game.
Yeah, good stuff. Good result for Tottenham. Good performance for both sides, really, especially the attacks.
Yeah, I appreciated both teams were really going for it. Made it interesting. It's good to see James Madison back out there as well.
True. True. All right, let's move on. Liverpool, Chelsea.
Oh,
A
painful.
disgusting game.
Painful
Uh,
for
a
Hank.
disgusting game. Um, Starts off with a little bit of controversy. Liverpool come out playing well, holding the ball, creating some half chances, and then we have a potential penalty on Conor Gallagher. And by potential, I mean everyone knows that it was a total penalty. If it wasn't enough that Gallagher dribbled past Van Dijk, and then Van Dijk went knee to knee with Gallagher, Van Dijk also held the jersey of Gallagher. So, I mean, I don't really know what to say other than that. Total miscall by Paul Tierney in the VAR. And even though, Chelsea played terrible on the day and didn't deserve a result, you have to say a 6-minute penalty would have changed things. It's not crazy to say that it wouldn't have, but the thing you have to remember, this is Liverpool. They're very used to coming from behind a lot of times, and if you really had to bet on one team to come from behind and get a win, you'd probably say Liverpool. You might say City, but City are rarely ever behind, so Liverpool are pretty comfortable playing that style. Such a weird game. Diaz was pretty effective dribbling wise, but couldn't get a ton going finishing wise. And then out of nowhere, Connor Bradley plays the ball to Jota, and somehow Jota splits the Chelsea center back pairing of Betty Chile and Thiago Silva. Walks right in, scores. Nothing Petrovic could do. Petrovic honestly was probably like one of 3 players that was respectable on the day.
Yeah.
Maybe 4. There's nothing he could really do. He made a nice save before this to tip Darwizi Habibi's shot onto the post. But Chelsea down 1-0, and they just look so bad in build up and possession, and Liverpool just pressing the ever living hell out of them. Not even necessarily winning the ball off of them, but just making Chelsea eventually turn it over. And then we have a second goal. It's from a throw-in. Liverpool, couple simple passes, and then it's just Luis Diaz hitting almost like a change of play / through ball kind of hybrid where he just swings it out wide and Connor Bradley runs into it. Bit of controversy on this one too, as Ben Chilwell and Jota were wrestling, and they both went to the ground. VAR said it was nothing. Ben Chilwell, absolute shocker of a game. Gave the ball away to Connor Bradley on the first goal, and then the second goal, he was way too far in. Even if it could have been a foul on Jota, doesn't matter. He shouldn't be there. He also got booked for diving. It was not a good day at the office for Mr. Ben Chilwell. And then, right before halftime, Sam's boy, Mr. Darwizi Habibi, going to take a penalty. And Sam, this man, they say he's the unluckiest guy because he hits the post, but honestly, it's just that's how skilled he is,
That's precision. Much harder to hit the
Yeah.
post than score.
I would say so. It's a bigger target to score, very small target to hit the post. I just can't believe that this was given as a penalty, though. This is where this kicks in, where it's like Jota just goes down easy. It's like, what are we doing? Like how is that not overturned? I don't even know what Paul
Yeah,
Tierney's saying out there.
it's really weird when you have some players that get a reputation for diving, but somehow guys like Jota completely avoid getting that reputation when he is like just
And
criminal in his diving.
somehow we live in a world where it's like Sterling like has a reputation for diving, but yet it's like kind of impressive, but yet he'll still get booked once in a while when it's really bad. He's like the middle stage, and I feel like if he's English, he'd get way more shit um than he does for diving. And then going into halftime 2-0, Pochettino says, "Let me change some things up here." And he puts on Budrick, Malagusto, and Nkunku. And honestly, people are giving him shit for that. But Nkunku and Malagusto were two of the three best players, and the other one was Petrovic. So I don't know what to tell you. You know, I feel like the sub was actually okay. Um, Chelsea actually had a good chance out of the half where Malagusto broke up the wing and then squared it for Ukraine Bolt, who ended up guying it as it was like slightly out of his reach. Um, Liverpool really applying the pressure though in this half, not taking it easy on Chelsea. Connor Bradley getting Sabozalai in the action there, a little header. What do you like? You know, what are you gonna do? Um, real good performance by Liverpool and Chelsea. I'm wondering if it's one of those things where a lot of people are talking these days, where it's like, is Pochettino the right guy? Is he not? I think it's because the standards were so low, and I want to get your take on this, Sam. The standards are so low where it was end of Tuchel, and then like after the beginning of Potter, where I mean they lost like Potter lost like 9 out of 11 games or whatever, but uh they like Pochettino might bring them up to where they can beat the shitty teams, but they just look so flat in these big games unless it's at home. You know, they've played well against City and Arsenal at home, but like the United game, the Liverpool game at Liverpool,
Well,
like
even with like the Arsenal game at home, they still allowed Arsenal to
they
get back
blow it.
into the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder, it's like, is it improved? There's no doubt it's improved from last year, especially the attack, but the defense has taken a huge step back. And the mentality in these big games is I just don't, especially road games. Any road games, I don't have any faith in Chelsea.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder if you go into the summer, you have to question it. Chelsea do get a goal, 71st minute. Chukwuemeka feeds Nkunku, who pretty much makes the whole play by himself. Great finish. I thought, oh gosh, who was it? Someone on ESPN FC actually had a good take on this, where he's like, Nkunku is completely different from Chelsea because you can see he looks like he's played at an international level. He's like, how many guys on Chelsea look like that? And I was like, yeah, not many. He's like, he went on to say something like Chelsea signed a bunch of mid-table players, and I was like, that could be the case. But I just noticed that right away. Like Chelsea do have 2 or 3 guys that they've signed, where it's like they are ready to play now. But that's the problem when you spend 25 mil on, 20 Brazilian prodigies, Sam.
Yeah.
So, after that, there's another potential penalty shout for Chelsea. Van Dijk steps on the heels of Nkunku before he even receives the ball as the ball's coming to Nkunku in the box. No call there. No, I mean, I guess the check was cleared instantly. And then to wrap it off, Luis Diaz with a goal from Darwizi Habibi. Massive performance by Liverpool. Pathetic performance by Chelsea. It's one of those things where did Liverpool get a bit fortunate with some of the ref decisions? Most certainly, but their performance was fantastic anyways.
Yeah,
The only
they
thing I would say,
could have scored 6.
yeah, they
Or-
could have. They blew a bunch of big chances. That's the thing. So, sure, we live in a world where, just because you have a better performance than the other team doesn't mean you win. That happens plenty of times. But with this game, it just doesn't matter. But it's like consistent refereeing. And Paul Tierney had,
Yeah, he's by far the worst in the league.
So finishes 4-1. Liverpool, they're not going to let it go. I think this Klopp pulled out as like a pair of aces up his sleeve kind of thing, with playing the emotional card. It's his last year.
Yeah.
Obviously, he announced that the day after we released our last pod. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, on one hand, it's surprising, but on the other hand, it was like inevitable. We
Did you
knew it
see the
wasn't going to be
one? The
forever.
one. It didn't really catch fire, but it was like a kind of mini conspiracy that like because Liverpool is releasing this like in-season documentary thing this year, and someone found this old quote from Klopp that was like, "If Liverpool ever tried to do a fly on the wall documentary, I would leave."
Hmm.
Which I mean, it was from a couple years ago, so you never know. Things can always change, but I feel like that's interesting because he definitely seems like the kind of guy that would not like that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. But well, one of the Premier League greats, he'll be gone at the end of the year. It'll be interesting to see if Liverpool can hold on because Man City are right on their heels. Still have a game in hand. It's Liverpool at 51, City at 46, but City have a game in hand.
Yeah. I thought maybe with that news, there was rumblings, Virgil van Dijk saying, doesn't know if he's going to be staying there after this year. And
Yeah.
it kind of felt like, oh, is this kind of going to backfire on Liverpool and people are going to be depressed about Klopp
That,
leaving? And
that never entered
it
my
didn't,
mind. I
it
don't know
didn't
why people.
happen in this game.
Yeah, I don't know why a lot of people came up with that. I never felt like that. But then again, that's probably just I was just going off what we saw at Dortmund when he's like, "Yeah, I'm leaving." And they went from like the bottom of the table to like a Europa League spot. Obviously different league and stuff, but
Yeah.
I feel like when you're that loved by players and stuff and you're just like, "All right, this is the last go. You guys got to win one for the skipper, kind of
Yeah.
thing." Um But we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of lots riding on Salah to come back. I feel like as well as they're playing without him, there's no way they can win the title without him. That's for sure.
Hmm. All right. Moving on to the Thursday games. First one being West Ham versus Bournemouth. This one, not super exciting. Bournemouth get an early goal after Zuma puts a horrible pass to Calvin Phillips, who attempts to pass back to the goalkeeper, but is sniffed out by Dominic Solanke, who scores to put the Cherries up early 1-0. After that, Senesi had a shot go over shortly after set piece, but West Ham, very strange lineup. Obviously, trying to get Calvin Phillips in the lineup. They go with a midfield of Ward-Prowse, Phillips, Kudus, Alvarez, and Suchek. So you kind of have like four central midfielders and then Kudus and Bowen as your attackers. So not a whole lot of attack. Very
Yeah, and
heavily reliant on Kudus in this game.
yeah, yeah. I was gonna say Kudus and Bowen kind of a little more up top, and even Ward Prowse getting forward a little more, but he can kind of float out wide, and do what he wants. But yeah, the three holding midfielders, it's like might be able to win the ball and kind of play side to side and stuff, but you're really relying on those three guys to really do a lot.
Yeah, and
Uh,
that's pretty
at
much
the front.
exactly how it went. West Ham were able to neutralize Bournemouth pretty well offensively, but they just were not able to get forward at all. There was a big chance for Bournemouth in the 36th minute. Semenyo after an error from West Ham, but Areola made a big save. And then West Ham's best chance of the half was James Ward-Prowse having a cross that went all the way through, nearly caught out Neto, but he made a good reaction save to keep it out. Goes in halftime 1-0. Second half was a little more even in possession. West Ham looked a little bit better. They had a big moment, 58th minute. Kudus goes down in the box after contact from Kelly from behind. Not given initially somehow, which was a head scratcher, but VAR reviews it. Mr. Tim Robinson goes to the monitor, calls a penalty. James Ward-Prowse steps up and draws level from the spot. After that, not a whole lot of chances from either side. Christie had kind of a half chance after a turn and shot, but not much after that from either side. Just kind of lacking, attacking threat, both teams. So that one ends 1-1.
Yeah, kind of predictable given, like you said, the lineup that was set out there. It was very much like Moyes was neutralizing the game from the off, just being like, yeah, we're going to win the ball. We're not going to do a ton in possession and stuff like that. Apparently Maxi Cornet could potentially go to Crystal Palace, but it sounds like that did not come to fruition.
Yes.
Um,
I believe the window is closed.
yes, it is now. It was apparently close, and then it just didn't happen.
Like the
It could have
Ben
been bad
Rama.
for West Ham because they let Ben Rama go, which is understandable.
But it didn't
For the
actually go
money.
through.
It didn't.
Didn't go through. There was a West Ham didn't do something correctly at the final moments, didn't enter something incorrectly in the transfer software. So it did not go through.
To be fair, that's probably best for them, even though they could have got the money for Ben Rama. But
he's
I
pissed.
think they
he's
that,
probably not
but
going to
also,
play.
yeah, I was gonna say you need that depth piece. Yeah, there's even pictures of him with the Leon jacket and stuff on.
Yeah,
That's rough.
there were people speculating like what you were saying of, West Ham realizing that they were going to be kind of in trouble potentially
Yeah.
in terms of depth, but he probably will refuse to play for the rest of the season. If I had to guess. But anyways,
Yeah, that would make sense to me.
moving on to the last game, another candidate for match of the week. Some might argue this over Brentford versus Tottenham, and I can see that argument. This one was very exciting as well. Talk about Wolves versus United. United taking that early lead, and who other than Marcus Rashford, the clubber. He parties hard. He scores hard. Marcus Rashford. Nice layoff from Højlund to Rashford at the edge of the box, and it was a great finish as well. Wolves kind of slow start in this one, struggled to get forward. They were just kind of on edge in attack, couldn't really get a whole lot going. Slowly but surely started to get more into the game, but United always looked the more threatening side. United doubled the lead in the 22nd minute after Shaw's cutback was deflected somehow through the legs of Jose Sa, and then finds its way to Højlund for the tap. And very strange goal. Don't think I've ever seen anything like that. Very fortunate for United and Højlund.
Mm-hmm.
United had some more chances to grab a third. Højlund nearly capitalizing on the back pass from Doherty, and then he scored after getting in behind the defense, but was offside. And then Casemiro also scoring, but in an offside position. So it goes into halftime 2-0. Second half, there was an early chance for Kilman, cleared off the line really nicely by Martinez. United actually had a pretty strong lineup in this one too. Varane, Martinez, Casemiro playing for the first time in a long time. Seeing those guys back did seem to make a difference. 68th minute, Wolves win a penalty after Pedro Neto makes a run in the box. There's the slightest of contact by Casemiro given us a penalty. I disagree with that, but they gave it just a slight tap. Casemiro. Sarabia steps up, converts it to make it 2-1. Just a few minutes later, McTominay scores shortly after coming on from a corner. You're thinking, all right, United up 3-1, 75th minute. Seems fairly comfortable. But Wolves, they made it interesting. 85 minutes. Kilman pulls one back from a corner after Dawson's initial attempt fell to him. And then some crazy pandemonium in added time. Like, I think it was 9 minutes added on. McTominay had a chance, and then at the other end, Wolves hit on the counter. Neto cuts inside, scores at the near post with a very nice finish. Wolves think they've rescued a point. The crowd goes wild. But shortly after, United go to the other end. Kobe Mino shows some absolutely fantastic composure, cutting inside, hits the nutmeg, and then hits the cool, calm finish for the winner in the 97th minute. United cap it off 4-3, all 3 points. Massive victory
How
for
about that?
United. Crazy finish.
United, they just keep doing it. They
They
just keep pulling games out. You
they
can't
find a way.
explain it.
Find a way. Now they got some guys back from injury. Maybe they can go on a run.
Perhaps. I wouldn't bank on it.
For some reason, they're really good in February.
Yeah,
Undefeated in like 23 games.
I did see that.
Anyways, looking forward to this weekend. Let's break down some
Yeah, let's take a look.
fixtures.
See what we got.
First one up, bright and early. Everton versus Spurs at Goodison.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be looking for how Ainge ball attack versus, um, you know, Everton's defense, which has been a little better lately. I mean, Branthwaite and Tarkovsky kind of have it going. Um, we shall see how this goes. I would suspect that, at Goodison, they haven't been that strong there. I'll say Tottenham go 2-0.
Yeah, I think Tottenham are vulnerable, obviously, with their high line, but I'm not sure if Everton are really the team to capitalize on it.
They can. They can. It's just a matter of how well they break out.
Yeah.
Depending on a lot of it's going to hinge on Spurs midfield and how well they can kind of contain it, because I think Everton, like you said, with the counterattack ability with Harrison and McNeil, they can really ping some balls and stuff. I'll still go it falls Tottenham's way.
I think it'll be 2-0 Spurs. James Madison getting a score sheet.
Oh, that's what I just said. How dare you
Can't help myself.
steal my prediction? Brighton and Palace, little
Um,
derby action.
Most random derby in the league.
Yeah. 3 wins for each and 7 draws.
Are we feeling Crystal Palace after that big win? Or bounce back game for Brighton?
Brighton's bound to bounce back from 4-0. That was abysmal. Tony Bloom, or whatever his name is, he ended up refunding all the away fans' tickets and travels. He repaid them. Said it was unacceptable. I'm really at a loss right now with Palace's defense. It's just like all over the board. We know that their attack isn't going to be all that great, but when their defense is like really shaky and stuff, makes me scared. But Brighton haven't looked super sharp lately. I'll probably go with a 1-1 draw, but I really kind of want to pick Brighton to win, but I'll go with a 1-1 draw.
4 out of their last 5 have ended 1-1.
Yes.
The other one being a 1-0 to Brighton.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like there would be more goals in this game, but maybe not. I think I'm going to go with a 2-2.
There you go.
I just don't think either defense has been really very sharp, as you
They've been
said.
shambolic. Burnley, Fulham, Turf Moor.
Can Fulham?
Fulham. If Fulham win this, then the split is 3 wins for each and 2 draws in 8 games. So I'm thinking Fulham will win.
I think so, even though they're not that great on the road.
No, not that great on the road. And honestly, the defense has actually been pretty solid. It's more the attack has kind of fallen off right now.
Yeah.
Kearney being that deep line kind of playmaker, connecting the dots is working. But I'll say I'll say Fulham 2-0. A little Bobby D Cordova read action, maybe.
Oh,
Maybe a little Broya action. No,
bro, yeah.
no way. Did you see if he plays like over half the games that it's going to be a free loan?
Interesting. So incentivizing them to play.
Yeah. Yep. Otherwise, it's like 4 mil or something like that. I saw.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick 1-0 for Fulham.
I like it. Newcastle, Luton. We know how the first one went. Luton with what we thought was a shocker. Now they got to go up to St. James, Sam.
Yeah, it's
What
a
are you
little
looking at in this
tougher,
one?
tougher place to play. That's for
Well,
sure.
the Ken's tough when you're a road team, but
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
this is gonna be tough when you go from the Ken to St. James.
Yeah, I think Newcastle coming off that victory against Villa, they'll be confident going into this one.
I'm not sure Luton can top the 4-0.
No, I don't think so. But I'm sure they'll give it a game. I think maybe a 3-1 for Newcastle again.
Hmm. I was thinking 2-0 Newcastle. I have a lot of 2-0s this week.
2-0, good meal.
Yes. Um, Sheffield and Villa. Somehow this game is the 11:30 game.
Everyone, all eyes on Ben Brereton.
I suppose. You know, you
Should
just
be.
wonder they're gonna have Fodderingham in net because your boy Gerbic is probably gonna be out. Um, Mason Holgate, he's back. So you got that going for you. Uh, I mean, it'd be hard not to say, even the last time it was close, I'd still probably pick Villa, even though Sheffield, play a little better lately, to say the least. I want to see Ben Brereton Diaz and Cam Archer at the same time. No
Yeah.
William Asula. He had the last chance in the Palace Sheffield game, and it was poop. And it was just stinky. And I was like, why did it fall to him? So, as far as Villa, I mean, they got to get this attack going. They really got to get uh, Bailey and Diaby going, like big time. Big time, big time. I get that, you know, Watkins is your main guy, and the chips will fall into place with him. He can always create stuff, but those two, Diaby especially, has to get going.
Yeah, for sure. I think Sheffield will play him tough in this one. I think it'll be another 1-1 draw.
I'll go Villa 2-1.
Right.
And I'll say it's like an own goal is why Sheffield loses.
Can see it.
I can
Sunday,
feel it. I can
Bournemouth,
feel
Forest.
Jerry berries and the tricky trees.
Sir.
I'm feeling pretty good about Bournemouth in this one, Sammy. I feel
Yeah,
like
I think
Nuno's
so.
manager bounces fell off. What
Yeah.
do you think?
Uh, I mean, it's hard to say. Going up against Arsenal, obviously they're going to park the bus, so it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, they play a
It's
little
definitely
more
gonna be.
open.
I feel like this will be. Yeah, I was gonna say this will definitely be a more open game than I think most people would realize. Um, I think it'll be slightly higher scoring. I think I'm gonna go Bournemouth 3-2.
Yeah, I definitely could see the 3-2 as well. They've had that score line 2 times in their past 3 games. I'll mix it up. I'll say 3-1 Bournemouth.
All right, Chelsea Wolves at the bridge. Can Gaz pull the double, or Wolves in a little bit of a downward spiral after this United result?
Yeah, it could be tough to bounce back after that,
Pretty
but
demoralizing.
if there's any team that can do it, I believe Wolves can.
Yeah. Chelsea at home, I feel all right about it. So there's the potential to win. They won't play Sam's guy Ted Curd from last episode, which is unfortunate.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Teddy Curd.
R.I.P. Turd.
um, I'll go with a 1-1 draw. I'll say that Chelsea are winning like the whole game and Wolves score at the very end.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think it'll be Chelsea 1-0.
A little Cole Palmer cook or what? Who's up for Chelsea is the real question.
Maybe Nkunku again.
Yeah, very well could be. But Chelsea clean sheet. I don't believe in that, Sam. That's one thing I don't believe in.
You never
Just
know.
like
Wolves
there's two
might
things I
drop
don't
a
believe
weird.
in: Wolves, Chelsea clean sheet, and Sheffield before Ben Burton Diaz. Those are two things I don't believe. uh, Man U versus West Ham. These are always like max 1-0 games. I know that the last time they played was 2-0, but these are always like max 1-0 or 0-0 games, right?
Yeah, we
If
got 2
they
nil,
always
1
feel
nil,
like
1 nil,
way
1
more
nil, 2-1.
defensive than they almost feel like cup games because like both teams are just so defensive
Yeah.
in them. It's very odd. I don't know how to describe it. Um, and this one's at Old Trafford. Okay. I mean, this would be very United to win that game and then lose. That is what I will
It
say.
would be. It would be.
I just don't know if West Ham have to come out as defensive as last time. Uh, I just don't know with Moyes, because when he plays his lineups, he loves his certain guys. I'll say that they turn around and do the double over United this year, and I say they win 2-1.
I'm going to say United 2-0. It'll be interesting to see what West Ham roll out with the lineup if they try and go with like the 4 central midfielders again or if they switch it up. Hopefully they switch it
I
up.
think they will switch it up.
But I
I
think United are kind of, finding their groove.
I don't. I think that there's no rhyme or reason to what they do.
Yeah, I mean, as much as they possibly could with this team.
Yeah. Arsenal Liverpool.
Time
Big
for
game.
the biannual pain.
Yeah. Join the club. Um, what are you looking for in this one? What are the keys to success for Arsenal? What are the keys to success for Liverpool? Is Salah even going to be back for this? I haven't checked AFCON.
Supposedly not.
Okay.
Um,
That might be worrisome
well,
for you. This is the game where
well, yeah,
Darweezy
he's been
actually executes.
he's been back but injured. But yes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So likely no Salah, but you can never rule that. But
Yeah.
it's always always a test going against Liverpool. The defense has to be at their highest performance, even without Salah, because they can hit you just like they did to Chelsea. And Jota, he's an Arsenal killer, certified Arsenal killer. But
Even at Wolves.
it's always an interesting game because you got two teams who definitely can
You just have to watch
break
out for Connor
fast.
Bradley because he's too good,
He's a secret
apparently.
weapon.
Yeah, clearly. They just pulled this guy out of nowhere. He's just like, oh, okay. He's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with a juicy 1-1 draw.
yeah. The danger of Liverpool. It seems like they can, get you, catch you off guard pretty quick, and the next thing you know, you're down
2-0.
3-0 or
Yeah.
something. So
Yep.
I'm gonna say 3-1 Liverpool.
Wow. I'll let you get away with that anti-jinx just because Liverpool are fantastic.
It is definitely not the anti.
Do you think if in a game where it ends 3-1 like that, would you bank it on the midfield, the defense, or the attack? Like, what would you anticipate goes wrong? Like, like you have early chances and just don't convert them, and that's what fucks the game, or what? What would
Yeah,
mess it up?
I definitely could see that,
If
but I think
You just think
sometimes
Liverpool
too the
attack
defense can
overpowers?
really get caught off. Make a couple of mistakes, especially if we're talking Zinchenko. I mean, he was at fault.
Is he part of defense?
Well, you know, optional for him.
Yeah,
He was at
clearly.
fault for that a 1-year goal, but also not very well defended by Saliba as well.
No,
But
there's.
Zinchenko's just such a liability.
I feel like Saliba just has taken not a step back necessarily because he was so good last year, but he's just not quite as good as last year. And I mean, that's going to happen year to year where you're not like as good as you were the year before. Next year, he might be even better than he was last year. But I just feel like this year's not quite as good. And maybe that's just because the guys around him aren't as good right now.
I think
I
it
don't know.
also has to do with just teams being able to sit back and play a low block and then just directly hit on a counter, leaving you exposed 1-on-1 or something,
Yeah.
leading for more potential mistakes. I think if the Arsenal attack is firing better, teams are a little more hesitant to go forward like they do.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I have faith in Arsenal to hold on. That's all I'll say.
Do you have faith
Maybe
in
Saka gets
Brentford?
rolling. With Ivan Toney, anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
They did it last year,
They
but with the
won the
way
last
City are
2.
rolling right now, I'm gonna go 2-1 City. I just think they have a little too much. It's gonna not be one where they can coast. I'll tell you that much.
This is weird because Brentford hasn't played City yet this year.
Yeah, because the one game was supposed to happen a little while ago and it got delayed.
Yeah, was it Club World Cup or something?
Yeah, some disgusting made up cup that
Yeah, to
I
give
would hope
City another trophy.
the Champions League winner could win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
Uh,
know people used to brag about that for Chelsea, and it's like if they lost to like a Brazilian team, I don't know what to tell you. Do you have any predictions for the week? Any
oh, we
goal
didn't even
score
say
shouts?
our scores for City.
Oh, I did. I said 2-1.
Oh, you said 2-1. Sorry.
Yeah, I said they're not. It's not going to be an easy game for them,
I think. Oof, man.
and they might even win like 3-1. And it's still not an easy game for them. I think
I,
they're just going to have to work for it.
I think it'll be 2-0, but
Not the grind out, just hold the ball for 45 minutes,
I, I
2-0.
I think it will be that.
You do? Okay.
Yes.
I think this is still going to be one where they're really plugging away till the very end to try and build their lead, and they can't.
Yeah.
Do you have any shouts?
Ben Brereton Diaz 3-3.
Okay. I'd like to see you go away from that well since we
Okay.
predicted that last time,
Yes,
but
I was going to give you something different. I'm going to say Alex Scott bags a
okay.
goal and assist.
Respect. I was feeling for Bournemouth's win. I was feeling a Tavernier game. He's been a little quiet lately.
I can see it.
We'll make it happen. All right. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Premiership Cruiser podcast.
And it does. Another fantastic episode. We'll be
In
back
the books,
next
another
week.
Ben Brereton Diaz goal, another fantastic Premiership Cruiser pod up. What else is new? Water's wet.
Water's
The
wet.
sky is blue. Aubameyang is blue.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Adios, mis amigos.
Bye.